Okay, in this section, we're going to be talking about branch administration and how to link users to specific branches and unlink them. So we're going to log in as the administrator for this functionality. Now, when we log in, we go to the next menu item, which is branches. If you come here, currently we only have one branch. If we click here, you can actually see the people linked to this branch. We've got two tailors and one supervisor. And this is the default um, treasury branch that comes with the system, where the administrator is linked and the treasury officer is linked, and any other administrative people are linked. Now, the reason why this is done is you cannot log into a system without being linked to a specific branch. If I was to actually unlink any of these people, they will not be able to log in to the system because they are not attached to any branch. Now, I can create a new branch and say Mutare branch. Now, this could be 1356 new branch road, and the branch contact could be +263 754 359. Okay, so to save this, you can see we now have a new branch, Mutare. Currently, the branch has got no users. For us to click there and try and add a user to that branch, you find there's nobody there. But I do have an option of creating a user on the fly. Let's do that. So we want to create a new user. Let's create a new user for that branch. Isabel Muta. Okay. And the username I Muta. Email will be I at gmail.com. User type. We'll make her a supervisor. Let's put her number. Okay. So we've successfully created a new user. Come back here, close this, and then we come back to um, Chieda. You can see that Isabel has automatically been added to Chiredzi branch, but that's not what we want. But this is a default feature because it automatically links a specific new user to the default branch, um, so that this whole process doesn't take too long. But we want to tailor make it now, so we're saying no. We want to take you away from this branch and we want to put you to Mutare. So now, because we've taken Isabel away from that branch, she's available here. We click here, you can see now she's linked to the new branch and she can actually log in to that new branch. So basically, that's branch administration. You can create a new branch and you can delink and link users to new branches. Okay, the next section, we want to look at rates and the rate board. See you in the next slide. Okay, we've already logged into the system as the administrator because we want to set the rates and look at the rate board. So we go to the next section, which is rates. We click on it, and currently there are no rates or currencies that have been configured with the rate. If we wanted to look at the rate board, we go to the same domain, which can be configured by your network administrator on request slash board. If we come here, you can see it's currently just noting that you've got a currency pair by default in the system, which is USD to Zim dollar. But this can be customized to Rand, to US to Zim dollar, Pound to Zim dollar, depending on what you actually transact. But we're going to use this for our example and tutorial. So if we go back and say, okay, we want our first currency, we want to create a new currency rate, we select it. And we're saying select the currency or the foreign currency, which is that, and the buying rate. So I want to buy US dollars at 86.5. For what? Bond. And then the selling rate, if I want to sell the US dollars or vice versa. So I'm going to sell it at 96.5. If I was to save this, voila, successful. And we've got our first rate in the system saying we've got the currency US dollars and we're buying at 86.5 and we're selling at 96.5 for bond. If we come back to the rate board and refresh it, you find that we've got our new currency pair here. Okay. Now this is usually put on a large screen TV for customers who get into the branch to see. Let's make more options because we're in Zimbabwe. Okay, that's one. Let's add two more. Okay, now that we've created all the rates based from the USD to the different Zimbabwean currencies, which is bond, EcoCash, and RTGS, we notice that we've got a duplicate of the bond. This is not a problem because we can still delete or edit this duplicate. Let's try and update the last rate. Let's try and put 89.5 and also 95.5. If we do that, you can notice that the system has automatically updated the two rates. But we can also decide to delete one of the two because we don't need double entry. This is obviously a mistake. So we can delete the first one. It'll obviously ask you, are you sure you want to delete this record? And if you confirm, it deletes the rate from the system. Now that's the rate administration form, where you can create rates, edit them for the tailors to be able to sell. Now, in the next section, we'll be talking about client administration. See you on the next slide. Okay, welcome back. Now that we've created our rates, as you can see, the dashboard has clearly shown the three different rates to the USD. Now, what we want to do is we want to allow the tailors to be able to do bureau de change transactions and also create new clients. So the first thing that we need to do is send some float for the tailors to use. Otherwise, they won't be able to do a trade. So here we've logged in as a manager or a treasury officer. And we can notice that on the one branch that we have, which is Chiredzi branch, we still do have 1,000 USD that Timothy decided not to send back to the branch. Now, at HQ, we can actually send this directly to the tailor as a treasury officer. That's going over Timothy because maybe there's an emergency for us to do a bridge exchange transactions immediately. So we come here in the float movement, and then we select the branch to tailor. This one is a bit different because it's the administrator. It assumes that you are the branch, but we want to use this one. Now, this one mimics a treasury officer that is sending money from a specific branch to a specific tailor so that that tailor will be able to do transactions. So we select that, select the currency, select the branch, and as you can see, it shows 1,000 US dollars at Chirezi branch. Then we select the tailor that we want to send to. Here we want to send the 1,000 US directly into Chipo's float account. You put in the amount, and it's a success. This is the administrator who has managed to send float from Treasury direct to Taylor instead of logging into the branch. Now, if we want to check if the float has gone through, we can try and send again. Select the branch, and you can see that there is no longer $1,000 here. Where's the money gone? It has gone to the branch, specifically to the tailor. If we come here, administration, and look for Chipo, you can see in her float account, she's now got $1,000. Now, we need to log in as Chipo for us to do a test per exchange transaction. See you in the next slide. Welcome back. Now we want to log in with Chipo's account and we want to test two functionalities. We want to do a Burrito exchange transaction, buy and sell, and we also want to create a new client as a tailor. So let's log in and see how that goes. Okay, so now we can see the rates at a glance for EcoCash, RTGS, and Bond. We've got 1,000 US that has come into Cheapo's float account straight from Treasury. Okay, let's sell some US dollars for some bond. We come back here. We'll select a previous client, which we'll remember as Ryan. If you see Ryan, he comes back here. You've got his details. Now, if you remember before, we couldn't sell because there were no rates. Now let's try and see. Select the currency being received. So yeah, I'm receiving bond. Select the currency being dispersed. It's going to be USD. Now it doesn't give me an error, but it actually pulls out the rate, 95.5, where I'm selling or dispersing USD and receiving bond. Currently, the float that I have is 1,000 USD. Now the question is, how many or how much am I sending out? For example, the amount I'm receiving is 1,000 bond. This automatically calculates how many USDs I'm supposed to disperse. In certain cases, this can be confusing, so we've created a reverse configuration. Say we only want to sell 10 US dollars. If I was to click this, it reverses the configuration. Now, I don't need these cents, I can just take them off. And it gives me a general calculation that for you to disburse $10, you need to receive 955. And it kicks away all the unexpected cents that clients might complain about. Once we're done here, we can go to the next. Now it gives you a mimic receipt that's going to come out, and it shows you the full transaction. Chirezi branch, Taylor Chipo, client Ryan, and this is a sale transaction for 950, 5 bond that we are receiving, but we're selling it for $10 at the rate of 95.5. Okay, so let's settle this. Now, in this settlement part, the Taylor Chipo needs to put in her settlement PIN or security PIN. It's different from the password. If you remember when we went into the password reset, there was a drawer also for resetting the PIN. Now, we can try and put the default, but that won't work because I think we had changed it. Let's put in the correct one. Voila. So this is a security feature that confirms that a specific Taylor is the one that made a transaction based on her PIN. So this needs to be reset consistently for security reasons. And these can be used by the audit team to confirm that the specific Taylor is the one that did this transaction. So when you print, click OK and refresh, you can now see on the Taylor dashboard that she made a transaction 95 for 955 and $10, and that was a sale. It's complete. If you now look, instead of 1,000 US dollars, we have 990 US dollars. But now, instead of a zero bond, we've got 955. Okay, now we want to buy Forex. Client comes in, but this is a new client because we are trying to search him. We can't find any ID of Tinashe. Maybe we misspelled it. Still, so we can come here and create him. Put in their phone number, email address, date of birth, address, and continue. This is an individual. Right. Now this is a success. We've got a new client called Tinashe. If we were to come back here again and type in Tinashe or abbreviation, you can see now the system recognizes Tinashe exists. The same way it recognizes Brian exists. If we click on Tinashe, we can see, oh, okay, the ID is there, so it's a valid client. Now, we want to buy USD. So select the currency being received, US dollars. Currency being disbursed, bond. Now, as you can see, the rate changes. And it also shows that we have 955 bond. And this is at the rate of 89.5. Now we want to sell $5, but that doesn't make sense. So we revert back to this. And then we come back here and say, okay, uh, so we want to buy $5. Sorry. This shows that for us to buy $5, we need to disburse 447.50. If we continue, it gives you a basic summary. Okay, so this is a buy, and we're receiving $5 and disbursing 447.50 cents at the rate of 89.5 to Tinashe Jaja. We do a settlement confirmation and print. Put in my security pin, and there we go, our printout. If we refresh, you'll find it's a bit different. This is now a buy. So we received $5 and disbursed 447.50 cents. But initially, we received 955 bond, but dispersed $10. Now this will happen the whole day as you're receiving and dispersing bond in US dollars. And basically, that's the section for tailored transactions and client administration. One more thing, if we try and sell again to Ryan, something different happens. It'll now show the history of what Ryan previously did. And we can continue, and this history can also be viewed in more detail by the administrator. Okay. Now, the next section, we're going to be looking at transactional reports. We're going to be looking at the reports from the client side and also the general reports holistically in the whole system. See you in the next slide. Okay, we're back again and we're looking at transactional reports. Previously, Chipo managed to do two transactions, a buy and a sell, for two different clients. And as you can see on the dashboard, the different floats of the one branch and a general summary of what has been happening. Okay, now let's look into clients. If we see, we've got Ryan Shoniwa and Tinashe Jaja. These are the two clients that we created as an administrator, and also the other one we created as a tailor. Here, you can see all sales that this client has done and filter by date and even export as an Excel. Also, we can see if they did any sell or and if they did any sells or buys. My apologies. Now, the same we can see that the other client didn't do any sales, but we do see a buy. This is very important information that specific management might need to do tailorized campaigns to specific people and understand the general trends of their clients. You can also link up loyalty systems into this type of configuration. What we're simply showing you is that the data is captured as per client. So it's always important for you to tell your tailors to save the client detail because you will be able to use the information in future. Although we do have an anonymous client functionality. The next report that we're going to look at is the generalized report that the administrator, the manager, or the treasury officer can use. This is a full-fledged report that shows basically every transaction that has been happening today based on the branch, based on Taylor, or reversals. Here, it's showing you a total amount of sales and a total amount of buys. You can export to Excel, or you can actually reverse the transaction if there was a mistake. Let's try and reverse a transaction. If I click here, it will ask you, are you sure you want to reverse this transaction? If I say yes, the transaction is reversed. Now what happens is because the transaction is reversed, you will still have a report of the transaction. But if you noticed, we no longer have the card that was here that was explaining the buys that we did. And this $5 has automatically been returned to the tailor's float. This functionality can be done by the administrator if need be. Next section and the last section is we're going to look at the dashboard for each, the administrator and the treasury. We have been seeing these things, but we just want to conclude with the business intelligence of the system. See you in the next slide. In conclusion, we can look at the business intelligence on the dashboard of the managers. As you can see, it shows you the rates. It also shows you a float summary of what's happening at the branch. If you notice, this is a branch level. We're seeing in total that there's 990 US dollars and 955 bond because of the reversal that happened. We can also see, based on transaction, an average which is 10 US that was sold at a rate of 95. The more transactions you do, this will average. And you can check by week, by month, or overall the total of the whole system. We can also see Taylor float analysis on the different branches. And as you can see, cheaper is the one that has float, whereas Nenyasha doesn't. We can see Taylor average transactions that has happened. Here, cheaper managed to do a sale of $10, but also did a buy of $5, which was cancelled. But for reporting purposes, we left this in there, but this can be customized at the user requirements. So this is basically the conclusion of my presentation for Nenyasha Financial Services, Bureau de Change custom developed system. Thank you. I've been your presenter, Gregory Shoniwa. I'd like to hear questions on anything, but for now, this is where I end. Thank you.